Listen carefully, because what I am about to declare is not for the faint of heart. The Spirit is speaking, and this is a divine alert. December 11 and 12 are not ordinary days. There is a shift happening, supernatural, powerful, and irrevocable. These are days that will separate the ordinary from the extraordinary, the casual from the committed, the hesitant from the courageous. Do not treat these days like any other day on the calendar. God is moving in ways that will disrupt every ordinary expectation, that will shatter every plan rooted in human limitation. If you have been living in the ordinary, if you have been waiting for things to just happen, this is the wake-up call. These are days that demand vigilance, spiritual alertness, and bold action. You may not feel it yet, but God is orchestrating events that are beyond comprehension. Doors will open that no man can close. Opportunities will arise that defy logic, but with great power comes great responsibility. This is not a time for fear, it is a time for faith. This is not a time for hesitation. It is a time to rise, to speak, to act in alignment with the divine mandate over your life. Listen closely. What happens on December 11 and 12 will influence the trajectory of your life for months, even years to come. These are days of life and death, not just physical life, but spiritual, emotional, and financial life. There will be choices to make, doors to step through, and battles to engage in. The victories of your life are not waiting for the ordinary. They are waiting for the bold, the faithful, and the spiritually awakened. You may be wondering, how will I know? The confirmation will come through prayer, through discernment, and through a sudden clarity that pierces every confusion. God will make it unmistakable. Those who are alert, who are prepared, and who have aligned their hearts with purpose will experience breakthroughs. Those who are distracted, complacent, or lukewarm may find these days challenging. But even then, grace is extended to all who turn, repent, and rise in obedience. Do not underestimate the power of what is happening. These are days to take your spiritual authority seriously, to activate your gifts, to speak life over every area that feels dormant, declare, decree, and enforce the word of God over your circumstances. Stand boldly in the knowledge that the Spirit of God is orchestrating a divine disruption that cannot be stopped. December 11 and 12 are not ordinary. They are transformational. They are prophetic. They are filled with possibilities that will make history in your personal life. Step into them with courage, with purpose, and with expectation. Receive the strategies, the insights, and the divine connections that God is releasing. Speak boldly, act decisively, and walk in victory, because life and death are in the balance, and God has already spoken. These days are extraordinary. You're not here by accident. You're not bystanders. You are warriors, ambassadors, and vassals of destiny. Declare it, believe it, and step into it. These days are yours to seize, yours to honor, and yours to live fully empowered. Remember, God said, December 11 and 12 are not ordinary. Stand alert, speak life, take authority, and watch the extraordinary unfold. Listen closely, because this is not a message for the casual, the distracted, or the complacent. December 11 and 12 are days unlike any other, days that have been ordained by the Spirit to shift the course of your life, your destiny, and the very atmosphere around you. You may look at these dates on the calendar and see them as ordinary, but God sees them differently. It is raising the veil, revealing that these are days of supernatural significance, days when the ordinary will be confronted with the extraordinary, when heaven will intersect with earth in ways that demand attention, discernment, and action. These are days that carry the weight of destiny, days that will separate the ordinary from those who are prepared to walk in purpose. There is a divine alert ringing over these days, a wake-up call for those who have been waiting, procrastinating, or living as if nothing is happening. The Spirit is saying these days are not ordinary. They are pivotal, strategic, and powerful. Life and death hang in the balance, and your awareness will determine your breakthrough. For some, December 11 and 12 will be days of unexpected opportunities, doors opening that no one can close, ideas coming to life that have been dormant in the spirit, and favor being released in ways that defy logic. For others, these days will present challenges that test faith, provoke courage, and demand alignment with divine wisdom. Every circumstance you encounter during this period is purposeful. Every encounter, every conversation, every decision has been orchestrated to shape your trajectory. To treat these days lightly is to risk missing the favor, the insight, and the divine strategies that have been reserved for you. The Spirit is moving, and those who are alert will perceive the signals, the confirmations, and the sudden clarity that reveals what to do, when to act, and how to position themselves to receive the fullness of God's plan. Understand this, these are days of life and death, not necessarily in the physical sense, although even physical preservation may be at stake for some. But more profoundly, these are days that can determine the vitality of your spirit, the health of your relationships, the trajectory of your career, the financial breakthrough that has been delayed, and the fulfillment of dreams that have been stalled. Life will be given to the prepared, the obedient, the faithful, and the spiritually awake. Death will come not necessarily as an end, but as stagnation, missed opportunity, unfulfilled potential, and the weight of regret. The ordinary person may pass through these days unaware, while the spiritually alert will rise in authority, take their place in purpose, and experience transformations that echo far beyond December 12th. God is calling for vigilance. Ordinary days are marked by distraction, casual engagement, and passive living. But these days demand spiritual alertness, a heightened sense of awareness, and an active pursuit of divine guidance. The Spirit is speaking to awaken the sleeper, to shake the stagnant, and to illuminate the path for those who are serious about their destiny. There is a heightened spiritual atmosphere surrounding these dates, a convergence of opportunities, alignments, and heavenly strategies that cannot be replicated at any other time. Every prayer you have spoken, every seed you have sown, every moment of faith, obedience, and perseverance will find expression in these critical hours. Do not underestimate the power of timing. December 11 and 12 are like spiritual accelerators, days when the natural and supernatural collide. Events that have been delayed, relationships that have been dormant, projects that have seemed impossible, all have the potential to activate now. Favor will be released in a manner that defies human logic. Those who have prepared spiritually, emotionally, and mentally will find themselves in positions of influence, leadership, and divine advantage. Those who have neglected preparation may find themselves caught off guard, unaligned, and struggling to navigate what is unfolding. This is not fear-mongering. This is spiritual reality. God has already spoken, and the universe is responding to the declaration of these days. Awareness is everything. To be unaware is to be vulnerable. To be alert is to be empowered. The Spirit is urging you to examine your heart, your intentions, and your level of readiness. These are days to pray with intensity, to seek wisdom with diligence, and to align your actions with the divine strategy being revealed. The ordinary will not recognize the signs, the confirmations, and the sudden shifts, but those who are awake, those who have cultivated a lifestyle of prayer, discernment, and obedience will see the opportunities that others cannot, hear the instructions that others miss, and step into positions of favor that will change the course of their lives. The significance of these days is not just about external circumstances. It is also about internal transformation. Spiritually, emotionally, mentally, and even physically, you are being positioned for breakthroughs. God is moving in ways that require your cooperation. You must engage, speak, declare, and activate the authority you have been given. These are days for strategic action, days for alignment with divine purpose, days to make decisions that carry eternal significance. Do not allow doubt, fear, or procrastination to rob you of what has been ordained. The word says that the Spirit guides us into all truth, and these days are a testimony to that principle. Guidance, clarity, insight, and revelation will be available to those who seek it. Doors will open that no one can shut. Opportunities will present themselves that defy human reasoning. But these gifts are for those who are awake, aware, and ready to respond. The extraordinary cannot be received by the passive. You must be intentional, focused, and courageous. You must recognize that December 11 and 12 are spiritual inflection points, days when decisions carry weight and actions produce results that may echo for months and even years to come. And let me say it again, these are not ordinary days. Do not treat them lightly. Do not allow routine to blind you to the extraordinary. Do not assume that nothing will happen. The Spirit is moving. Heaven is aligning with earth. Favor, breakthroughs, and divine opportunities are being released. Your readiness, awareness, and willingness to act will determine whether you experience the life that has been promised or whether you simply pass through, unaware and unprepared. Position yourself for breakthrough. Step into these days with expectation, faith, and authority. Recognize the spiritual significance, the prophetic timing, and the life-altering potential of December 11 and 12. Life is on the line, not just ordinary life, but extraordinary life, the fulfillment of dreams, the opening of doors, and the activation of destiny. Heaven is moving, and the Spirit is calling you to rise, to engage, and to walk in alignment with divine purpose. Do not be ordinary, do not be passive, do not be unaware. December 11 and 12 are supernatural days, days of divine intervention, days of life and death, days of transformation. Your preparation, your faith, and your alertness will determine whether you step into the extraordinary or remain in the ordinary. Recognize the power, recognize the opportunity, recognize that God has spoken. These days are not ordinary. They are supernatural. They are strategic. They are decisive. They are for those who are spiritually awake, bold, and ready to receive the fullness of what has been promised. When God declares that December 11 and 12 are not ordinary, He is calling each one of us to step into a higher level of spiritual awareness, a higher level of faith, and a higher level of personal authority. These are days that demand more than passive observation. They require engagement, action, and alignment with divine purpose. Faith is not optional during this time. It is essential. The Spirit is calling those who are willing to activate their God-given authority, to speak life into their circumstances, and to operate boldly in their purpose. This is not a time to sit on the sidelines or wait for someone else to act. These are days for intentional declarations, courageous steps, and the exercise of spiritual authority that has already been given to you. Faith is the key that unlocks the supernatural. It is the bridge between the natural and the miraculous, between possibility and fulfillment. December 11 and 12 are days when faith must rise above fear, above doubt, and above hesitation. The Spirit is calling for a faith that is active, not passive. A faith that moves, speaks, and declares. This is faith that does not merely hope, but faith that commands circumstances to align with the will of God. The ordinary will hesitate, will question, and will miss the opportunities of these days, but the bold, the alert, and the spiritually awake will step forward, trusting in God's promises, and will see supernatural outcomes unfold in real time. Every word you speak, every action you take, every declaration of faith is amplified during these days. The atmosphere is charged with divine possibility, and your faith is the key to unlocking it. Authority is another element that cannot be ignored. You have been given authority over your life, over your environment, and over every force that seeks to hinder your progress. December 11th and 12th are days when that authority must be exercised consciously and decisively. The Spirit is calling for a recognition of the power that resides within you through God's Spirit. This authority is not passive, it is active, operational, and effective. It is a call to stand, to speak, and to enforce the word of God over every situation that threatens to derail your destiny. Ordinary thinking will assume that things will happen by chance or by luck. But divine authority recognizes that your words, your declarations, and your actions have the power to shift realities. These days are not ordinary because the authority you exercise now will produce results that extend far beyond December 12. Purpose is the final piece of this triad. Faith without purpose is directionless. Authority without purpose is powerless. These days demand that your faith and authority are aligned with the specific divine plan that God has placed over your life. Purpose is what gives power to your faith and precision to your authority. During December 11 and 12, clarity of purpose will illumine the path before you. The Spirit will reveal which steps to take, which doors to enter, and which declarations to make. There will be opportunities to influence lives, to create impact, and to establish legacies that reflect the divine mandate on your life. Those who operate without purpose may act, but their actions will lack effectiveness. Those who operate with purpose will see supernatural alignment and results that could not be manufactured through human effort alone. Engaging in these days with faith, authority, and purpose requires intentional preparation. You must cultivate a spiritual posture that is alert, ready, and sensitive to divine guidance. Prayer is essential, not just any prayer, but persistent, fervent, strategic prayer that aligns your heart with God's will. Your declarations must be rooted in God's promises, your steps must follow divine direction, and your vision must reflect the destiny that has been assigned to you. These days will challenge the ordinary, disrupt routines, and demand courage. Those who rise in obedience will find that opportunities, breakthroughs, and divine favor have been waiting for them. Those who delay, procrastinate, or operate without alignment risk missing the extraordinary impact that these days carry. Every believer has been called to be a voice of life, a vessel of change, and an ambassador of God's kingdom. December 11 and 12 are days when this calling is intensified. The Spirit is calling for bold activation of faith that declares victory over circumstances, authority that enforces God's will in every area of life, and purpose that ensures your actions are aligned with your destiny. These days are not ordinary because the stakes are high, the rewards are great, and the opportunities are strategically positioned. What you choose to do with your faith, authority, and purpose during this period will determine whether you step into extraordinary favor or remain in ordinary cycles. The extraordinary does not respond to passive hope. It responds to active engagement, courageous declarations, and disciplined alignment with divine guidance. Faith is your bridge to the miraculous. Authority is your power to enforce change. Purpose is your navigation system that ensures your steps are aligned with destiny. When these three operate together, the supernatural unfolds with precision. December 11 and 12 are days when heaven and earth converge, when the Spirit is releasing strategies, opportunities, and insights that cannot be ignored. Every action, word, and decision must reflect an understanding that these days are strategic, supernatural, and life-altering. To activate your faith, you must believe that what God has promised will manifest. To exercise your authority, you must act boldly and speak decisively over every area of your life. To operate in purpose, you must align your steps, thoughts, and declarations with the divine plan for your life. This is not a passive experience. These are not ordinary days. They are supernatural days, and they demand engagement, readiness, and courage. Those who step forward will find that doors open that no man can close, that resources flow in ways that defy logic, and that breakthroughs occur that were previously unimaginable. Those who remain passive may observe, but they will not participate in the extraordinary unfolding of God's plan. Now is the time to rise, to declare, and to step into authority with faith and purpose. The Spirit is calling, the opportunity is here, and the days are strategic. Faith must be activated, authority exercised, and purpose embraced. December 11 and 12 are supernatural days, life-changing days, and destiny-altering days. They are reserved for those who recognize the power within, align with God's plan, and step forward with boldness. These days are not ordinary. They are extraordinary, and they are calling you to action. Listen carefully, because what I have shared is not just words. It is a prophetic declaration of your life. December 11 and 12 are not ordinary days. They are days of life and death, days of opportunity and breakthrough, days when the Spirit of God moves in alignment with heaven to bring transformation, favor, and victory. The choice is yours. Will you step forward in faith, exercise your authority, and walk fully in purpose? Or will you remain passive and miss the extraordinary that has been reserved for you? Rise up, declare life over every circumstance, activate the authority that God has given you, and walk boldly into your divine destiny. These days are strategic, supernatural, and life-altering. Do not treat them lightly. Stand alert, speak boldly, act courageously, and embrace the extraordinary. Heaven is aligning with earth. Doors are opening that no one can close, and your breakthrough is ready to manifest. Remember this: God has spoken. December 11 and 12 are not ordinary. They are prophetic. They are powerful. They are for those who are spiritually awake, prepared, and willing to step into their destiny. Receive it, declare it, and live it fully empowered. The extraordinary is calling. Will you answer?